All right, now communications. Let's talk about it for a moment. If you want assistance, a tool, connect with the vibration of Elestial crystals, an Elestial Quartz. Just go into the field. You don't have to go buy yourself one. If you want to, that's fine. But every single person has access to the field, the quantum field, the limitless field of potential. So you can just allow yourself, you could do it when you're laying in bed thinking about those beautiful beings around you that we spoke of earlier, right? A minute exercise right there, throw Elestial Quartz on top of that. So you're laying there and you're imagining your team of light around you, and then you allow yourself to bring Elestial, E-L-E-S-T-I-A-L, Elestial Quartz in. Why? Yes, Elestial Quartz is an amplifier of connection with your teams. There's a crystal on the background, in the background behind me on the floor. Maybe you can see it. I don't know. It looks like it has a white cloth underneath it. It's rather large. I've had it since I started this global outreach, planetary outreach with Acasma. I got it from my sister. It's an Elestial. And when I first started doing my videos and first started recording the light beams for the world, for others, I would hold that in between my legs. Many of you may remember the videos in the very beginning when I would be sitting in the middle of the room, in a darkened room, and that crystal would be in between my legs in front of me. And I didn't even know really anything about it when I started. I was just trusting myself and showing up and leaning in and allowing. Nobody told me, go grab an Elestial. Yes, but it found its way to me and I was drawn to be with it. So trust, that's why I say trust yourselves. Yes, everybody's with me. That's the whole trust yourself and allow. So that Elestial was with me when I began doing these spaces for the sharing with the world. And I would hold sessions for individualized clients, and I would just allow myself to intend. You could do this as well. You just get still, you do whatever you want with your body. I like to just do prayer position. And I would just say to myself, I intend to connect with my team of light. I actively initiate that knowing, right? That space of connection. It's my right to do so. And then if I'm doing a client video, I say, yes, I intend to connect with my client's team of light. And many of you know this, this work. You might have been a client that this was done for, but it's fascinating. It's fantastic. It's beautiful because the videos are similar, but different. The light beings coming in for the clients are their light beings. Does this make sense to you? So some people would have more purple. Some people would have more like a bunch of small, like snow coming in. And then some people would have flashing ones, Yes, but we have the ability to set the intention and to make the alignments. And you have the ability to run that vibrational space of you, be that vibrational space of you. So yes, when you're doing communication, Elestial Quartz is very helpful to amplify the alignment of the communication. And like I said, just pull in the vibration, okay? You don't have to have the actual crystal, just pull in the vibration. Let it just be with you. Just think about Elestial Quartz. Say it. I intend to connect with Elestial Quartz. It's going to amplify the communications. Then I actively engage the alignment with my team of light. Or if you're doing this for a client, my client's team of light. And you're holding the vibration of divine reverence, divine respect, and divine connection, that you are one with these teams. Because you are. Even in the understanding of unity consciousness, you are. All right? It's a divine sacred respect that we maintain, but at the same time, we're leaving the respect that we were taught that said, get on your knees, do not look, you're unworthy to see this space. You are separate from this space, and you must receive assistance from this space because you're not worthy. That's the space we're left. If you're still there, it's all right. But you can leave if you choose to. Why would you leave? Because as you leave, you allow the new. And as you are allowing the new, you are then realizing you are a part of the team. And you get to live from that vibrational space of you. You get to understand and yes, interpret and yes, be that higher vibrational space of you that you are, and you are allowing. So communications opens up. And one of the really cool things that happens with communication, I spoke on this a little bit in that YouTube video as well, yes, is telepathy. Telepathy. So some of you may be very familiar with telepathy, the understanding of being able to communicate through thought, through the mind, without using the mouth or the hands, you know, or any type of symbols at all. You're just looking at the person and it's just conveying. So when I have, yes, understandings coming in, that is one way they will communicate, is telepathically. It's like taking a sentence. See this sentence I'm speaking right now? You can imagine the words in your head. You can imagine my words. So you see the word imagine, my words, that, I. And so you know this is a sentence, right? In English grammar, we call that a sentence. And that when I'm speaking to you, you're not positive what the end of the sentence will be. You have an idea of where I'm going, but you're not positive what the end of the sentence will be. But when it's telepathy, that entire sentence, thought, understanding is encapsulated in one package. And through that one moment, it is conveyed. Boom, done. It's extremely fast. It's so cool. It's a little trippy when you first start having it happen. The very first time I ever had it happen was with my daughter, Sydney. You know Sydney, many of you know Sydney. So my daughter, Sydney, she has a guide, beautiful light being that's been with her since she was in this incarnation, this life. But when she first started registering this guide, she was about 8. And she first saw this being as a fairy, which was in alignment with her age and what was comfortable to her. So that's another thing with light beings, higher dimensional light beings. They will take on a form you're comfortable with. But it doesn't mean that's all they are. That's really big here, people. Even if you're seeing them as angels, they're even more. All right? We're more. Everything is bigger. It's incomprehensible. So Sydney was 8. She saw this as a fairy. And then as she knew her name. She was talking to her. My daughter Sydney used to see portals when she was, she still does, but she saw portals when she was really little. And she would tell me, Mama, it's like opening up in the room. And I was like, what's opening up in the room? And she's like, the space is opening in the room. And she would describe what was going on. And I was like, later, when I learned more myself, I was able to understand she was describing portals. And so this guide she is working with, would open these portals and they would have these interactions. And this went on for my daughter's entire childhood. And then when my daughter became a teenager, the fairy took on more of its, yes, maybe visual characteristics for this exact alignment, because that's another thing. Light beings are a little different in different alignments because different alignments hold different interpretation points or availability to them. So when Sydney was little, her availability was fairy. But when Sydney became a teenager, she was stronger in her belief structures and her faith that she could be more open to maybe what this being more so was, if you will. So this gets interesting, guys. Do you want to know what this being looks like right now? Very, very tall, elongated legs, elongated arms, like longer than a human, but that type of form, all right, but very long. Like 3 fingers, 1 thumb, very long hands, and the head, this is the best part. The head is a triangle. Their head is a triangle. It's a triangle of light. So this being she named and got the name of, however this happened for her, Delila. So that's the 8-year-old name of this being, but it's stuck. She stuck with it. The being let her call them Delila. So where I'm going with this is when Sydney was 15 or 16, she went on an outing with her friends that was about 4 hours away. And it was one of the first few times where it would be an overnight event away from her family. My firstborn. Are you with me? So, as she was planning to go on the event, I was hugging her in the living room. It was just she and I was blessing her in my mind and in my heart, but not like overly mothery. I wasn't saying it out loud like, bless you, child, keep you well and healthy on your journey. It wasn't like that, right? It was like just conveyed from my being. But what do you think happened? I had never had a direct contact with her guide, Delila. We had talked about Delila. I understood who Delila was. I knew that they also travel. Wouldn't even say it's definitely a female, but I knew they also traveled in a triangular ship. And we even had one of the nights we knew Sydney had a greater contact with this being. It was really fascinating because Sydney got the understanding of a triangle ship in addition to the triangle head. And then the next day in the news, and it's documented, you could look it up, in our city, there was a sighting of a triangle craft a couple miles from where we live. Oh my gosh, like you can't make that up, right? So when I was hugging her in the living room, and I know all this, and I have these understandings, and I'm thinking, bless my child, protect my child, be with my child, all of a sudden there's Delila in the triangle head, large, tall being standing behind my daughter as I'm hugging her. So my daughter's looking the other way, and I'm looking over her shoulder, and here in the middle of my living room is this being. And I just took a breath and I just looked right into the face of this beautiful being. And they just conveyed to me instantaneously, she's covered, she's surrounded by light, she's going to be fine, she's going to have a fantastic. It was like this long package of reassurance instantaneously given to me. And it was the first time that I had ever really experienced what I would call telepathy. It was an instant conveyance of the understanding. And then I let it happen and I received it with gratitude and shared my gratitude. And my conveyance was instant. I was telepathically conveying as well. I didn't use my mouth. When I said thank you and I communicated beyond that, it was all coming from that connectivity of telepathy. So it was really fascinating. And then I stepped back and I told Sydney, I said, guess what? Delilah's behind you. And Delilah, and I shared it with her. And I think that made her feel good as well to go out on her journey, but also know that this being was with her. A guardian was with her. Her guide was with her, whatever words we want to put on it. They all work. So when you're thinking about, and that's important, please do it. It's your PowerPoint. When you're thinking about communicating with your team or your loved ones that have passed on, be open to telepathy. Be open to just allowing and being present with the space and listening with your heart and trusting yourself. The doors open and the alignment takes place and the information is shared, it's conveyed. There are many other ways that communication can unfold. Many of you know about the automatic writing I did. I think I've only done it a couple times in the last 5 years, but in the very beginning of January 2020, a year no one will ever forget. In January 2020, I woke up, it's in my book. If I had it by me, I would definitely show you because I love to show you my book, but I don't have it right by me right now. But this automatic writing came in. Yes. And I just trusted it. And then as I got done writing the paragraph, it was about a paragraph, my head said, because it was like 5 o'clock in the morning, I wanted to go back to sleep. But my head said, oh, I'm tired, I want to go back to sleep. My body said, oh, I'm tired, I want to go back to sleep. And then I thought, maybe I'm making this up. I should just go back to sleep. Maybe I'm writing these words. And then my pen died. On the paper, you can see circles where I dug in and there's no ink. And they had told me, the team told me, we need to work on you. Go back to sleep. It's okay to go back to sleep. But they made my pen die so that I wouldn't feel guilty or bad about going back to sleep. Do you see that? Do you see that with me? The next day I picked up the pen, or that day later, I picked up the pen and it wrote fine. So it was so cool, and so beautiful. But automatic writing, trust yourself, allow. You can't mess this up. It's okay. It's okay to try spaces, because what happens when you try them? You give faith the opportunity to grow. When we try a new space of us, we're giving our faith the opportunity to grow. We're giving the trust yourself the opportunity to grow. It can't grow in spaces in which it is not given, yes, the potential, to stretch, to lean in, to trust and to allow. But give it the space to trust you. Give it the space to allow you. Give it the space to be open to a new level of you, and watch what happens. I am here for you. So please ask whatever you want to ask. We are here. Our whole family is here. So thank you all for being that family of light. I love you. I love you. I love you. Thank you. Grabbing the kisses. Thank you. All right, holy ones. Have an incredible now. Have an incredible now.